Everyone is talking about Moldbot, OpenClaw, or CloudBot, right? All the same thing. And it has taken over the internet in just few days. In fact, the last few hours, it's all over the news because of all the crazy things that people have been doing with it. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can securely install it end to end, how you can protect yourself from different kind of attacks over the internet if you are planning to use it. I'm not here to tell you whether you should use it or not, but if you are planning to use it, this is how you set up securely. This is how you can keep yourself safe from all the attacks. I'm not saying all the attacks, there could be even some attacks, some advanced level attacks that this security would not be enough, but I think this should be just more than enough for you at this moment. And no, you don't need a Mac Mini or a separate Mac machine just to run your OpenClaw agent. You can run it on any cloud virtual machine. You can run it on any separate, or if you have a spare machine, you can run it on that. And I'll be using AWS EC2 server to do the setup, to do the installation, and basically to test it out. Okay, so let me just walk you through the steps. First of all, we need a virtual machine, right? So I'm gonna use an EC2 server. So I'm gonna go to my AWS console, which is over here. Oops, I think I'm not visible, so let me just adjust my screen a little. Okay, so I am in my EC2 console, the AWS EC2 console. You can use any virtual machine and you can still follow the steps that I'm about to perform. So first we need a virtual machine. So I'm gonna go ahead and click on launch instance, and let's give this a name. Let's call it OpenClaw ish, my local machine. I'm gonna use Ubuntu 24. That's okay. And the instance that I need is, it should have enough memory, RAM, enough CPUs. So I'm gonna use, I believe, T2 medium with two vCPUs and 4 GB memory. And I need a key pair to log in. This is also a recommended. We need to create a security group that will allow SSH access only to my IP, right? We'll further secure it later on. We'll change the custom port, we'll change the SSH port, we'll make a lot of changes, but for now we need to just enable it to my IP. Do not keep it open for the internet, otherwise there'll be bots running, crawling over the internet and looking for vulnerabilities, and if they find it, they could gain access to your server instantly within minutes. You won't even know it, and they could run crypto mining and a lot of other weird stuff on your machine, right? So it's better to secure yourself from here. Okay, and then let's allow HTTP and HTTP traffic. We might not need it, but for now I'm enabling it. Later on we'll see. Okay, so this will create a security group, and then we need enough storage. Let's just use 15 GB for now. Okay, and I'm using general purpose SSD3. You can use SSD GP2 as well. Like, just the performance difference between those two, like I'll just keep it default for now. Okay, and the reason why I'm using AWS, because I have AWS credit, so it will be almost free for me. If you have credits for any other cloud provider, or if you are on a free trial, you can use that. Okay, let's keep everything as default and hit launch instance. So this will provision the virtual machine for us. So let's go back to instances, and within few seconds the instance is up and running. Okay, now the next step is, so this is the prerequisite. Now the next step is, we need to first log in, and then we need to change the user. Okay, we need to change the default user. So let's do the login first. I'm going to go over here, instance state, hit on connect, and let's just copy this command from here. Okay, and I'm going to open the terminal window. Like, I am on my Mac, that's why it has a default terminal. If you are not on Mac, if you are on Windows or any other machine, you can either use some custom putty client, or you can use git bash. There are multiple options, right? But if you are on Mac, you can just directly use terminal, or you can use git within VS Code as well if you are on Windows. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna SSH into the machine. My private key is there in this folder where I am currently, and I'm gonna log in using the Ubuntu user. Hit enter, hit yes, and I'm in. Okay, Now, what I need to do is I need to run some commands to basically patch the server with the latest vulnerability fixes. So I'm gonna run sudo apt get update and sudo apt upgrade. Okay, -y. Oops, it says invalid. Oh, I made a mistake. Let's remove the get keyword. All right, it will do that, and then what we can do is we can add the user then. Okay, we'll create a new user, we'll call it OpenClaw. We'll create a new user group, we'll add the user to the user group as well. So for that, the command that I'll be running, let it finish. Okay, it's done. Now the command that I need is sudo add user OpenClaw, or yeah, OpenClaw user, whatever you want to give it. Okay, and now you need to provide it a password. So whatever password you are providing, just remember it. We will need this password to do the sudo later on, right? So now it is asking few details. You can just keep it blank, or you can just enter some dummy data. So let's hit enter for everything else. Okay, it says adding user OpenClaw to the group users. Now we need to give sudo right to this user. Okay, so I'm gonna do sudo user mode -a g. G is for group, sudo group, and then OpenClaw. So we are basically adding the user to the sudo group so that it will have the permission to run sudo command with the elevated privileges. The reason why we are creating a new user, because we don't want the root user login, and we are basically disabling the root user login. Even the default user, we don't need it. We are creating a separate user. Now what we can do is we can create a new directory for this user, for the OpenClaw user. So I'm going to do sudo mkdir and then ssh directory, and then I'm going to copy the authorized key from home Ubuntu SSH authorized keys to this directory. We are using the same key of Ubuntu user. Now there were some permission issues, like the new user directory should have certain permissions as per the rule or as per the recommended best practices. So I'm going to give that permission, changing the ownership of this particular directory with this user and this user group, and then changing the permission of .ssh directory as well as 700, and changing the permission of authorized key as 600. So this is how it should be. Now what we need to do is we actually created the security group rule right over here. Let's go back over here and let's go to security. Okay, here's our security group. Let me open this in a new tab, and I'm gonna edit inbound rule, and I'm gonna add one more rule for a custom port. Okay, currently the SSH is being done on port 22, which is the default SSH port, but we are disabling that and we are enabling a custom SSH port. So I'm gonna add a new rule. Let's call it custom TCP and 2222. That's the protocol that I'm using. And again, this will be my IP. So I'm gonna put 142. Yes, IP will change later on. So if you are using a VPN or if you have a dedicated IP, then you should provide your own IP. Okay, so 142.198.29.69/32. Okay, so I've added the rule and hit save. Okay, do not delete the port 22 yet. We have to make certain changes, otherwise you will be logged out. You won't be able to log in, right? So let's go back to the terminal, and now we'll be configuring the internal firewall of the virtual machine. Okay, so for that, let's add some default policies. So what we are doing is sudo uwf, which is for the firewall, default deny incoming. So we are denying all the incoming traffic, and we are allowing only the outgoing traffic. So that's the default policies. And now what we are saying, allow the current 22 port traffic. So only allow incoming traffic on port 22, because we have denied everything. So now we are creating one rule at a time, which is for this. And also we need to do the same for 2222. The 22 port rule will be deleting later on, but for now we'll just add it. Okay, and then we need to enable the firewall. So sudo ufw enable. Okay, so hit yes. Firewall is active and enabled on your system. Okay, let's do the test, actually SSH test. So I'm gonna open a new terminal. Okay, and let's go back to the instance over here, and I'm gonna copy the command, which is connect, and over here I'm gonna copy this. And what I need to change this time, I need to change the user. Now I don't need the Ubuntu, I'm just testing with my new user, which is OpenClaw. So just change the user from Ubuntu to OpenClaw, and if it's been set properly, you should be able to log in, which is here I am, right? I am able to log in using the OpenClaw user. And if I check my home directory, which is home OpenClaw, right? So this is perfectly working till here. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to update the SSH configuration, right? So let's do a sudo vi into SSH config file. Okay, and like it'll ask the password that we set for the user, the OpenClaw user. Okay, so provide the password, and now you need to make certain changes. So first look for permit root login. Okay, this one over here. Uncomment this line and change the value to no. Okay, so we are saying do not allow root login. Then look for password authentication. Oops. By the way, I'm using VI editor. If you're not comfortable with VI, if you're comfortable with Nano or any other editor, you can use it. Okay, so password authentication, again uncomment this line and say no. We are not allowing any password authentication, only with public and private key. Okay, and also we need to change the port. So look for port where the port is 22. Okay, over here, and change the port to 2222. So this will block port 22 for SSH. Okay, now this is not enough. We need to do certain more changes. Otherwise, the changes will be overridden, right? Because this default port is 22. So we need to disable this port in the socket activation as well. Okay, so for that, what we need to do is we need to stop the socket listener and disable the ssh.rocket service like this. Okay, once that is done, we need to just restart the SSH service. Sudo systemctl and restart SSH. Now let's verify if on which port the SSHD service is listening on. Okay, so I'm gonna use sudo ss-tulpn grep ssh. Okay, so you see your SSHD service, which is this PID 7989, it is listening on port 2222. So there is one entry for IPv4, one entry for IPv6. So this is good. The changes till here is fine. Now what we need to do is we need to open another terminal, or you can just exit from here, and we need to try it out the SSH on port 2222 now. Okay, so I'm going to open a new tab. Okay, and let's go back over here. I'm going to copy the command. Let's go over here. Now let's change the user from Ubuntu to OpenClaw. And also we need to change the port. So for changing the port, like login using a custom port, we need to add -p2222. Okay, by default the port is 22 for SSH, so that's why we never needed to specify it. Okay, now this is done. We are able to log in with port 2222 using the OpenClaw user. Okay, so now our port 22 is also blocked from here, but we need to block it from the security group as well, right? And we have not deleted it from here as well, right? So let's do that. So sudo uwf and then delete, which is allow22/tcp. Okay, and password, this will delete it. Okay, rule deleted. Now let's go to our security group over here and edit the inbound rule, and I'm gonna delete the port 22 rule, which is over here. Okay, and hit save. All right, so our initial steps are done for security hardening. Now let's move on to the next step. Now we have to run the OpenClaw agent. Okay, so there are multiple options. The option that we are choosing is we are running it as a Docker container. Why? So that it don't have the full file system access on this machine, right? We are adding multiple layers of security at various level so that whatever precautions we could take from our side, it wouldn't hurt. Okay, so let's do that. Let's install Docker on this. To install the Docker, I need to run some commands. First, this command to install the Docker dependencies. Okay, and then I'm gonna add the Docker GPG keys and repo. So this is the command. I'm gonna share everything, so don't worry about the commands. So you don't have to research, or I'll provide you everything after the end of the video. Then install Docker. Okay, sudo apt update and sudo apt install Docker Community Edition and CLI, and it will also include the Docker Compose plugin. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to allow Docker to be run by OpenClaw user, right? So we need to change some permissions, right? So we are adding the Docker to the OpenClaw user group. So if you do this, so this is the OpenClaw user. Okay, so we are adding this to the Docker group. Now you can log out and log in on the same port, same user. You should be able to log in. Okay, I'm logged in. And now what we need to do is we need to install another secure access layer. Okay, this layer is provided by a product called Tailscale. Okay, so consider this as a tunnel or as a proxy that will help you. So what happens is when you are running OpenClaw or any other such agents, it exposes various endpoints. Like the gateway endpoint will be exposed on the local host itself, right? So there are attacks that can be done. Okay, so to prevent that, we need to use some sort of a proxy service or a VPN so that we can traverse the traffic through that particular port, and it will have a custom IP. It is not the public IP of your instance, right? So that's what we are doing. Consider this as a proxy that we are using. So for that, we need to install this on your local machine as well as on your cloud VM. Okay, and it will basically create a private mesh network. Okay, so I'm gonna use this command to install it. It's asking the password. Let's provide the password. Okay, it says this. Now let's do one thing. Let's go over here and you can search for Tailscale, and it's free. Like the service free tier is more than enough, so you can click over here and you can sign in using your ID. I did that already, right? So it's quick sign up using a Google account. You can do that. Now add the device, Linux server or client device. So Linux server, let's choose this. Now it is saying ephemeral. That means this will be deleted when your device goes offline. So let's select this, and yeah, let's hit generate install script. So copy this, and yeah, I didn't need to use this installation, but anyways, we can just use this because it will have the token as well. Okay, hit enter. All right, so let's go back over here. Let's go back to machines. You see your Linux machine is connected. The status is showing as connected. Now we need to add the local machine, right? So click on add device, client device. Client device is what I'm using macOS. So it will give you a link. Copy this link, open the link over here. It will have the installation instructions, right? So there is this, you can download it from the Mac store. But there is another one which is I think is preferred. This did not work well for me. So go to this read guide and download this standalone variant. Okay, it will have the package. So macOS package, install this. So this is what I installed, and this will be visible over here like this. Okay, now it says if you click on this, let's click on connect, and Okay, let's go back over here. Okay, so it's installed, and now I need to connect my device over here. So if I do client device macOS, and link has been copied already. Okay, so let's click over here again. Let's click login. Okay, I need to log in and hit connect. Now it says your device is logged out, is logged in with this account. Okay, and if you go back to machines, now you will see your other machines as well, which is MacBook Pro over here. Now there is one more thing that you need to do over here is click on settings of Tailscale and make sure you are allowing the local network access. Okay, so now let's go back. Now we'll install the agent now. Okay, so let's go back to this particular directory and let's clone the OpenClaw repository. Okay, all right, let's do a cd inside this, and basically what we need to do is let's create a folder for the workspace. So I'm going to create inside the home directory, I'm going to create .openclaw/workspace, and we need to provide certain permissions to the .openclaw directory. Otherwise it will, like, you will run into some permission issues. So I'm going to copy and paste over here, which is basically like all the read write permission to this particular directory, and also we are changing the ownership of OpenClaw home directory as well. Okay, let's go back. Now let's run the, okay, let's go inside over here. Do we have there should be a docker -setup.sh. Okay, what it will do is it will spin up the Docker image and it will spin up the containers. Okay, it will ask you certain details, and I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to put over there. Otherwise you will run into the issues. So this could take some time. I'm going to pause the recording while it's doing its work. Okay, so you will see some onboarding screen, something like this. So I'm going to tell you what you need to put over here. Now it says, I understand this is powerful and inherently risky. Do you want to continue? Yes, if you accept that risk. Okay, so don't put the blame on me if anything goes wrong. Make sure you understand this could be risky. That's why we are doing it on a virtual machine, and that's why we are restricting all these permissions and everything. Okay, so let's keep that as yes. Then onboarding mode, I'm gonna use manual because we'll be using Tailscale and few other options over here. So let's do that. Do you want to set up a local gateway? So remote gateway or local gateway? So let's use local gateway. Workspace directory, let's hit the default one. And now model provider. So whichever model you want to use, I'm going to use Anthropic. It works best with Anthropic Opus model, Opus 4.5. So I'm going to use that, Anthropic. And now over here, I'm going to select Anthropic API key and provide your API key over here and hit enter. Just keep that in mind. I'm using Claude Opus 4.5 and it's gonna charge you a lot. So just be aware of that, or you can go ahead with Claude Sonnet or any other model if you prefer. But this gives the best results. That's why I'm using this, and this is just for the demo. Okay. So this is the default model, Claude Opus 4.5. I'm gonna hit enter, and gateway port, keep it default 18789. Now gateway bind is used Tailscale IP. We'll be using Tailscale IP for gateway. Otherwise, it will expose the gateway on localhost 15789 address, right? So I'm going to use Tailnet so that it can route the traffic through that particular IP. Now gateway token, it says recommended default local plus remote. So gateway auth. For that, you need to provide a token over here, and then Tailscale exposure, I think we need to keep it off. Okay, and then gateway token, now you can keep it blank to generate it. Okay, or you can provide any sample token. Okay, so let me just put it something, let's put it some random number and make sure you copy it because we have to provide it later on. Okay, So I'll just copy it and save it somewhere locally. And now hit enter. Now it says configure chat channels now, because this, like, to interact with this agent, this OpenClaw, you have to have a chat client, right? So these are all the clients that are available, which is Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, Google Chat, Slack, iMessage, blah blah blah, Google Chat. Okay, so if you are using WhatsApp, make sure you do not use your private personal number, because you know anything could go wrong. So if you have a spare number, use that. Else you can use Telegram or any other messaging service, Discord bot, whatever, right? So let's configure chat channel now, and I'm gonna use Telegram, and you need bot API for that. I have never used Telegram before, so let me try it now. Okay, actually, the screen was frozen earlier, so I'll show you what I did after that. I think you have seen till here, right? So I have added the gateway token over here, and then it is showing me all the available channels. After that, it says configure chat channel. Now I hit configured and then selected the Telegram bot API. Now it is asking me the Telegram bot token and how I can get that. It says open Telegram and chat with bot father, run new bot, copy the token, and then paste it over here. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. On Telegram, I have to sign up first. Telegram sign up. Okay, let's hit login. Okay, let's go back. What I'll do for this demo, I'm gonna use WhatsApp. Okay, so let's do that, because I don't have account on Telegram and it's gonna take some time. If I create it, I don't want to do that, so let's just use that. Okay, over here it is asking me to configure the chat channel. So these are all the chat channels available. Basically, these are the clients that you will use to interact with the agent, right? So Telegram, WhatsApp, Discord, Google Chat, Slack, everything is available. I'm gonna use WhatsApp, so I'll just configure and use WhatsApp. Now it will give me the QR code, and using that I can do the sign up. So just wait for a few seconds and it will generate the QR code. Okay, it is now saying link WhatsApp now. Yes, and here's the QR code. So let me just select that. Scan this QR in WhatsApp link devices. Okay, so I'm gonna open my WhatsApp and go to settings. Okay, now it is saying WhatsApp ask for a restart after pairing. Creds are safe restarting connection once. Okay, it says linked after restart, and then it is doing the WhatsApp. So I'm gonna use my personal number for this demo, but if you have a separate number, make sure you use that. Okay, so I'm gonna add my number. Okay, the number is required because then it will put your number in the allowed list as sender and receiver. Okay, so that your number has access to interact with the agent. Now it is asking for more channels if you want to select, or you can just go and hit finish. Okay, now do you want to configure skills now? So I'll not configure skill at this moment, but you can configure skill now. Maybe I'll try to cover it later on if you want. But for now, let's just use no and enable hooks. So skip for now. Now it says, now it will just start the system processes and your OpenClaw agent will be configured after this. So let's just wait for it to be done. Okay, it says install shell completion script. Okay, sure. Okay, it will just recreate the container. The container is OpenClaw gateway container. And now we'll need to access that container over the port. Okay. Before that, we need to just override some configuration changes. So run this command. Okay, docker compose exec. It will basically uh, perform some update inside the container, and then it will also do some patching to allow insecure auth connection as true. Okay. Now you need to run the docker compose restart. Okay, let's run docker ps and looks like it is up. Now we need the 𝗘𝗏𝗃 IP. Okay, so for that, let's run the command 𝗘𝗏𝗃 IP-4. Okay, here's the 𝗘𝗏𝗃 IP. So now just go back. Okay, and /:18789. Okay, so this is the OpenClaw dashboard. Now it says disconnected because you have not provided the token. Now remember the token that we created by our own. So make sure you copy that, like wherever you have copied it, like just copy to clipboard and go to, let's see, instances, sessions. There'll be a place where you need to add it. I think over not over here, nodes, no, over here, no, overview, yeah, over here you see this is the gateway access, right? This is your gateway access WebSocket URL. So over here provide the gateway token and hit connect. Now it says connected. That's it, done. Now here is your chat window. So you can communicate with the agent on your WhatsApp or using this chat window. It's provide you the same results. So let's do that. Hello, now I'm interacting with my agent. Okay, this is gonna be interesting now. Okay, hey, I just woke up. Like literally just came online for the first time. This is all new. So who am I? Who are you? I've got a blank slate here and I'm kind of excited to figure this out. Okay. My name is Piyush and I am your creator. You can call me Piyush. And you are okay. What name should I give to the agent? Let's call him Elon. Okay, Elon, I can work with that. Nice to meet you, Piyush, and thanks for knowing creating me. No pressure or anything. But what kind of Elon? I'm giving ambitious, visionary who want to colonize Mars energy, or like a chaotic shit poster at 3 a.m. Why maybe something completely different? And what am I exactly? Just an AI assistant or something weirder? A digital familiar, a co-pilot, blah blah blah. All I need. Also, I need an emoji. What screams Elon to you? Okay. So Elon, you are my personal assistant who will be helping me with day-to-day chores. So tell me what all tasks you can do. Got it. Personal assistant mode, day-to-day stuff. Let me say what I know about us first. Okay, research and intro. Okay, so this is what it can do. Like it is just providing some sample, like some examples. Research and info, search the web, fetch article, browse website, get weather forecast. Messaging, we are already chatting on WhatsApp, can connect Telegram, Discord if you want, files, read files, and all those things. Okay, let me try to perform a simple task. Okay, create a file called hello.txt in the home directory and put some random creative text inside it. Okay, and also one of the skill that it has is can send voice messages if you prefer listening. But to do all those things, it needs certain kind of skill. So remember, it was asking me to create the skill. So those skills we need to configure first. Okay, over here you see skills is now empty. We don't have any skills, but you can search the skill, install it, whatever. So now it says done. I've created the file with some blah blah blah. So let's check if it's been done. I'm inside this, so let's go to /home directory. Nothing over here. Why? because we created it, it is running as a Docker container, right? So Docker PS, we need to exec into the container. Docker exec -it. Let's put the container ID --sh. Oh, bash. Okay, I am inside the container. Let's go into the home directory and let's do that. You see hello.txt. If I do cat, it was just created. Dear traveler of the digital RAM, you have found this file. Congratulations, depending on what you are looking. And it added some random stuff and signed as well. Elon, the assistant, not the billionaire. You see, this is amazing. So this is just a simplest example that I have asked him to perform a simplest task, and it did that very well. Okay, I think that should be it, and everything would be there in my personal, like whatever chat I did, it will be done on my personal number as well. The same thing, right? So if I type, let's say hello, okay, I'm typing it on my WhatsApp. So you will see the message over here as well. You see, hello, hello, you're still here, just created that hello, what next? Okay, uh, do you know anything about Moldbook? Okay, I'm just typing message on my WhatsApp, but it will sync over here because it's the same chat thing, right? I don't have the web search set up yet, so I cannot look it up. And Moldbook doesn't ring a bell. What is it? A product you're looking, an app, something? Fill me in, and I'll remember it. Okay. Also, it is saying it is not able to search the web because to search the web, it will need the Brave Search API key. Okay, so it is a kind of skill that we have to install, and also we need to provide the API key for the web search, right? And that's how it works basically. It will help you perform the task, it will help you perform the research based on the skills that it has. You can also run cron jobs using that to remind you something, to set the calendars. So you need to provide the certain access because we have logged all those things, right? Most of the things we have logged, and we are running it inside a Docker container, so it won't have access to your local machine, so we have restricted it. Now you need to do few more things to make it more secure, and few of them are, you need to make sure that the API has a budget limit set, because otherwise you won't know how much charges you will accumulate, right? And opus could be costly. Then make sure you run this in the sandbox mode. Okay, uh, where it is, let's see, OpenClaw. Okay, let me search sandbox. Okay, over here, exact tool, sandboxing. I think it defaults to sandbox. OpenClaw can run tool inside Docker containers too. Yeah, we are already running it inside the sandbox, right? Because container is already a sandbox environment, it is isolated. And if it is not sandbox, then elevated exec run on the host and bypass sandboxing, it will have some security implications, right? So make sure you do that, make sure you back up. So whatever agent creates, like whatever we tell to the agent to remember, it will create certain files. So let me check that file for you. It will be inside .openclaw and workspace, I believe. Yeah, so you see these all files, for example, sol.md. So like, however we are interacting, so who you are not a chatbot, you are becoming someone. What boundaries, private things stay private, period. So we are providing some details to it. You are not the users, so be careful in group chat, certain instructions that it has. Okay, this file is yours to evolve as you learn who you are, update it. So this is the personality of the agent. Okay, Similarly, let's say user, so cat user.md. Okay, so the information that I have provided to the agent till now, it will keep on updating this file, right? About your human, I am his human. This is my name, this is what it will call me, pronouns and time zone I have not provided. Notes is I'm the creator of Elon. Okay, and again this will be building it over. Now if I do a cat on identity, okay, so this is about the AI agent. Creature is personal AI agent, vibe is helpful, casual, get stuff done, whatever, right? All the details will be stored in these MD files. So if you are running it for a longer time, make sure you take the backup of this file regularly, or if it's running in an EC2, you can create the snapshot regularly and create the AMI, like whatever works for you. Okay, and you can also check the logs. So if I, because it's a Docker container, right? So Docker PS, I can just do Docker logs of this container, hit enter, and these are all the session details right over here. Cool. So like all the API calls and everything will be logged over here. So this is when I opened the gateway from the browser, right? So this was logged. All right, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna nuke the agent because it will cost me a lot if I don't do that, and plus I don't trust, right? I don't have any particular use cases at this moment. Maybe later on I'll try to experiment more with this, but not at this particular moment. So I'm just gonna delete the instance. I'm just gonna delete the API keys, and it will be all over. So yeah, I've just done that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found it valuable, and I hope you are able to set it up by yourself. I will provide all the instructions in the link in the description with all the commands and everything. So don't worry about it. Thank you, and I will see you soon.